Yep. Good morning, everyone. So, in our previous session, in a previous demo, I give an overview about what is React, and we are discussing about React features. So, React related features, we started discussing about the features of React. In React features, few points what we learned in previous session is what is component based. React is component based. Another point we learned is React uses virtual DOM. And to understand virtual DOM, you need to know about DOM. What is DOM and DOM hierarchy? We discussed about that. So last session, the features of React. Um, anyone missed out the previous sessions? At the end of the session, we will share a React community link. You join that. In that, previous videos are available. You go through. Last two sessions. So we have demos on what is React and how React works, means features and other differences between React and Angular like topics we learned. So React features in this last session we discussed about first about it is component based, and to what is component based, what are the uses of component based. Component based, what are the uses of component based? So it enables reusability, easy extensibility, rapid development of application. You can build applications faster, and easy. It is easy to extend the application, and it is easy to configure application in such a way that it will enable reusability of components. And one more we discussed is about it uses virtual DOM. But to understand virtual DOM, we discussed one concept, that is what is DOM. So in this, I explained the concept of browser architecture, and we discussed about HTML parsing. So these 2 points we learned. In browser architecture, what are the components available? Remember those? What are the components of browser architecture? Browser contains user interface. So it have UI, backend, you have browser engine, we have an rendering engine, and we have networking, we have JavaScript interpreter, and we have data persistence, right? These are the components of a browser. What they do, I already explained. And in HTML parsing, what is the hierarchy? Developer writes markup. Markup is converted into bytes. Bytes are translated into characters, are converted into tokens. Tokens, you call them as what? Tags. Tokens are converted into nodes. nodes are called as what? Elements. And these nodes are arranged in a hierarchy called dome. And a dome undergoes layout, after that render and paint. So that is the final result. How HTML is translated in browser, already I explained that part. So this is HTML parsing. In this, we understood the concept of DOM. So DOM is a hierarchy of elements. So next important, these all topics I explained in previous session. Detailedly we learned about that. Actually, these are topics in general HTML also you will learn. What is browser, browser engines, how HTML is translated in browser, these all. Now, next, you need to understand another concept is what is shadow DOM? What is shadow DOM? So DOM is a hierarchy of elements. So that hierarchy is to present a page. So you can present elements in a hierarchical order, and that hierarchical order of elements in page is called as DOM. Then what is this shadow DOM? What is the concept of shadow DOM? Actually, DOM and shadow DOM difference. So in previous session, I already explained a part. Generally, what happens is, for example, suppose we are having some design like input type is equal to date. I designed this input type date. And actually, I kept this in a form. In a form, we have a date. In a HTML page, we designed this form, and in the form, we have a date. Generally, when you learn HTML, you will learn that form is a element and input type date is an element, date element. But actually, form is a component and date is also a component. They are not elements. Do you know form is a generic component? Generic component means, I hope you learnt in HTML, form by default have the ability to submit and reset. Am I right? Form have an default ability to submit and reset. If you put submit button, reset button, form can submit and form can reset without writing any logic. You don't need to write any logic, but form have the ability to submit. Form have the ability to reset. Do you know form have the ability to even validate? You learned, right? That means, for example, suppose we are having input type is some email, and generally we have a required attribute, and you learnt in HTML that it will verify whether value entered inside this or not. That means without writing any logic, it is using some logic behind. That means there might be some logic written. Can you see that? So you cannot see the logic, but you can see the design. That means this is not a element. This email is a component. This email component is having email validation. And when you add required validation also works. Email verification works and required also works. Similarly, suppose if you add like date or something, then it is not a element. You can observe when you run this. Date is not a element. This is not a element. It is built with so many elements. Actually, this comes under this date element, this date component comes under DOM. That means what is the hierarchy? Can you tell the hierarchy of date element in a page? You learned JavaScript, HTML. Can you tell the hierarchy where date element comes in a hierarchical order? The parent is window. Do you know parent is a window? In the window, again, so many will be there. So in window, there will be an object called document. In again document, you will have an option called what? Forms. Forms is an array. In that forms, you will have again option called what? Elements. In that elements, you will have the element like button, text box and all. That is the hierarchy. Now, when you use an element, this element is kept in a hierarchical order. This called as what? DOM. But every element internally may have some more hierarchy inside. That means every component have a hierarchy. It is built with a lot of other elements. That hierarchy of elements is called shadow DOM. So DOM is the hierarchy of elements in page, and the shadow DOM is the hierarchy of elements in a component. Date is a component, and you can see that. See, right click, go to inspect, and here in the inspect, go to elements category. You can see that input is a type date, and to see what is built behind it, you can go to the settings of your browser debugger. In the settings, you have to enable one option here. So in the settings, what we need to do is you need to select an option called shadow DOM. Shadow DOM. If you select this shadow DOM in the elements shadow DOM, then if you don't select, usually the date looks like just date. But when you select the shadow DOM, you select this shadow DOM, then you can see that this date is built with so much hierarchy. You see shadow root. In that shadow root, again, it is built with a lot of design. That means input type date, input type email, input type URL, input type color, input type file. These are all HTML components. We don't call them as elements. They are built with so much hierarchy inside. So what is DOM and what is shadow DOM? DOM is hierarchy of elements in a page, and shadow DOM is hierarchy of elements in a component. Every component is built with again a hierarchy. So can we control this shadow DOM? We can. So we can control the shadow DOM. We can manage the shadow DOM. But these days, people don't learn about HTML, JavaScript components because they are very difficult to manage. Now we have more better technologies to handle them, and they are Angular, React, Vue, and all. So earlier, before Angular and React also, we have a component. Component-based design is not a new thing. From the beginning of HTML, JavaScript, we are having it. But we are using very extensively now with the technologies like React and Angular. Earlier, your senior people have to build these components and give it to you, and you have to just inject them in your design. But now you are responsible for building such components. And for that, you need the technologies like Angular and React to make it simple. So without Angular React also, component-based designs we can create. But it's a lengthy process to do using JavaScript and jQuery like concepts. So component-based, if any interviewer asks like, You are saying React is component based. That means we don't have components before React. Yes, we have, but it is a very complex design of components earlier with JavaScript. Now it became easy, right? So what is Shadow DOM? What is answer for this? It is a of elements, hierarchy of elements in a component, in a component. HTML provides various predefined components like date, email, file, color, etc. So this is the point. And HTML also allows to create custom components using JavaScript. Custom components using JavaScript. So that is Shadow DOM. In majority of React interviews, they will ask you difference between DOM, Shadow DOM, and Virtual DOM, because React people, when they attend interviews, the first question for fresher is, so what is Virtual DOM? And what is the concept of Virtual DOM? And to understand Virtual DOM, first they need to know what is DOM. DOM, another one is Shadow DOM. Next important, now comes the key part, is what is Virtual DOM? What is the concept of this Virtual DOM? So React uses Virtual DOM. Then the point is, what is this Virtual DOM? Virtual DOM is nothing but, suppose we are having a browser. So generally we have a browser, and browser uses a DOM for presentation, and every browser have memory allocated. So every browser have the memory allocated. So generally what happens is browser presents everything in the form of a DOM. So you designed a page and in the page you created some hierarchy. So that means you have the hierarchy like parent element and child elements, like hierarchical order is there. So we have some hierarchy like parent and child. Usually this hierarchy child, so like this. Now when you design a page with this hierarchy, last session already I explained how it is presented. That means how HTML is translated in the browser. So this will be generated as a DOM in the browser. That means whatever you done, it need to be constructed on the browser. You designed some hierarchy, it need to be constructed. And to construct that, yesterday, last session, we saw the process. What is the process? Markup to characters, bytes to tokens, DOM, layout, rendering, all the process you learned. It will take a lot of time. Last session, I showed you the process also, how the process works. means in the background we saw the performance. It will take lot of time to generate this in the browser. After that, what happens is whenever you do modification in the page, whenever you do the modification in the page, it have to handle the complete process again to generate the modification. That means, for example, later you added, so you added one more child 3. When you added one more here later, then what happens is it should update this into the browser. Then it will obviously take lot of time. Why? Because here again the same process will carry on. That means again what? Markup, markup to what? Bytes, bytes to what? Characters, characters to tokens, tokens, tokens to elements, elements arranged in a DOM. Then again it will undergo the layout and render, and the process is paint. This should happen every time. It will take some time to show you the updates. You've done some update, to show you the update, it will take some time. But now what React will do is, React is going to maintain a copy of this DOM in the memory. It is going to maintain a copy of DOM in the memory. That means this in the browser is the actual DOM. And this in the memory is what? Virtual DOM. That means it is not the real DOM. You know, virtual means it is not in physical reality. It is not the actual. Now the point is, whenever you done any modification, this modification will reflect here in the virtual DOM, and that is shown to you as a user. You can watch that modification, but in the background it will update it later. In the background it is going to update it later. That means it shows you the output immediately, but it is just virtual and it really doesn't update immediately. It will take some time. But you got the confirmation. That means it's just like you are paying some bills through your various apps like Phone Pay, or you say Paytm, like apps are there. Through that you are paying. Have you observed when you pay some electricity bill, it will say first step processing your payment. After that, payment confirmed. So you are satisfied that payment is confirmed. But do you know it is not still paid to the electricity department? Do you know that? You paid a mobile bill through some app, then that app says successful, but it will take some time to pay them. They will not immediately pay. It will take some time. That's the reason they will show you it will may take 1 hour. It may take or 2-3 days time to reflect in your bill. Have you observed that? That is the nature of React. That means it shows you output immediately, but in the background it is still working. That means now what user thinks, that user thinks that it is fast, but actually still it is pending. It has to update in the background. That is the reason what React people claim about React is not satisfied to many senior people. That means many experts in software technology are not satisfied with this. They are not very much attracted towards this virtual DOM. That means they say that you are maintaining a separate copy of DOM in the memory. Is it not burden to memory? What do you say? General, in general, it is not burden to memory. It is burden to memory. And what you are saying that I will show you output, but it is not real. That means it is not still updated in the backend. It is working in the background. That is the reason many people are not satisfied for in the way how React works. So that is the reason they have a complaint on React. and they have a choice of various other technologies. But for a user, when he is watching, for him, if it looks fast, it looks like it is fast, then that doesn't matter for him. That means he don't need to worry whether in the background what is happening. So that is the reason React Virtual DOM is a controversial concept. That means we can argue in both ways. As advantage, we can argue. As a drawback, we can argue. So there is no point at all. That means it's okay. It is a good feature, but everyone is not interested in this feature. But many apps are depending on this feature. I hope you know Instagram, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix. These are all React apps. They are all built with React.js. That means very huge. And most people use these apps regularly daily. Millions of people use them daily. And they are using this approach. If they are not worried, then it doesn't matter. That is the reason it is always a controversy about virtual DOM. Some people are satisfied, some people are not satisfied. We can complain on virtual DOM, we can say it as a feature. But this is good for many type of applications, because before you really get the output, it will show you that output ready. So that makes React look like faster. So what is virtual DOM? Virtual DOM is a copy of actual DOM maintained in the memory of browser. Whenever any modification happens, that modification is updated in virtual DOM and it is shown to the user. But in the background, it is processing that to update into the actual DOM. How it updates and all you will learn later when you start learning React. The background architecture, how it updates. For experienced people, they will ask how virtual DOM updates actual DOM. That you will learn when you are learning the technology, once you start practically working with it. So I hope everyone is clear with this concept. So what is virtual DOM, right? Virtual DOM is, it is a copy of actual DOM in browser memory. In browser memory. The changes, so the changes in page are updated in virtual DOM. Changes in page are updated in virtual DOM. And later committed on actual DOM. Later they are committed on actual DOM. So it makes React application faster in interactions. So what is the advantage of virtual DOM? It is faster in interactions. So what React claims is, it claims that we are 10 times faster than other apps that you have in the market with other technologies. React claims that they are 10x faster in interactions. So this is another important feature here. So you learned only two features. One is component based, another one is virtual DOM. But to understand virtual DOM, you should know what is DOM and what is shadow DOM and what is virtual DOM. These three things you need to know. So we have two important features. So that is one is DOM and component based. Another important feature we are having is, another feature of React is it is modular. Another important feature is it is modular. So React is modular. Next important feature is modular. And modular, what is the advantage of modular? So that means let's see what is modular. What is modular? What is the concept of modular? So generally, we have in software programming, we have two types of approaches. So that means actually you are building an app. So in this, we have two types of approaches. One is two types of approaches means in building an app with legacy libraries, and we have modular library. All technologies are currently following this. Earlier they were not, but now all, including Java, .NET like technologies. Earlier Java, .NET also not modular. Recent from past 4-5 years, they became modular. And several technologies are transferring themselves, what do you say, transforming themselves into modular. That means earlier all are legacy type. All are legacy type. For example, I will explain one point. Means a general example. In general, in your way, I will tell you. For example, you are using a CSS file. So in this CSS file, you have, CSS file can have a lot of classes. Suppose we have button class, we have input classes, we have margin, we have padding related, we have several form related classes are there. Now, you are building a page, and when you are building a page, in this page, you are going to use buttons. Now to use buttons, you are going to import. You generally import this CSS file. Am I right? To apply some effects. The effects are present in this CSS file. And a lot of effects are present in that. Button effects also present, and you want to apply some effects to the buttons, then you will import this CSS file. You are going to import the CSS file. So now the question here is why you are importing a complete CSS file to just use this option. In your page, you don't have any work with forms. You don't have any work with input. You have just work with only button. Then why you are importing a complete library to use a small feature? Understood the point? That means in Java, .NET earlier, they used to have a legacy library. To use a small function, they have to import a complete library. Why you are importing complete library for small function, one function? In that library, hundreds of functions are there. And you are importing complete library to use that one function. That is not heavy for application. Obviously, it is heavy for application. We call this as legacy. We call this as legacy. Modular means it will import only what is needed for that situation. That means they are using a function, then it will import only that function in the memory. It will not import all functions from the memory, from the library. It will import only the function that they are going to use. Modular means what? Part by part. I hope you learned in JavaScript, modules. JavaScript, classes, modules. Am I right? In JavaScript OOP concepts, you learn module systems. JavaScript is also having this modular approach. Without linking a JavaScript file, how you can use the functions of that JavaScript file in a page. Do you know, without linking a JavaScript file, we can use the functions of that file in a HTML page. How you do that? We import using a module system. By using module system, we import. What is advantage of module? You can import only what is needed. For example, I will show you. In JavaScript, you might already learned about that, but I will just show you. For example, I am having a JavaScript file in this project. I am having some SRC scripts folder. Don't worry about what I am using in my project. Just see the concept. Suppose I am having a file as a home.js. In home.js, I am creating a function, and the function is some hello. And it will return some hello home, something like this. I have another function. This is add and a b, and it will return a plus b. Okay. Now the point is, I am marking this as export. You learned in JavaScript module systems, export the function. And I want to use them in this page. That means in this page, I want to use them. In the paragraph, I want to display. Then how you can access them here? When you write a script, when you write the script, this script type, now it should be module. And when you configure the script type module, you can import only hello function. So from which location you can import? // I have src in that scripts in that home dot what js. I can import from there. I'm not linking the file. I'm importing that document.query selector in the paragraph inner HTML. I can display hello. I can display this hello, which returns a function. And actually what it is going to do is it is going to return the result. It is going to return the result hello. We are not linking a JavaScript file. And remember, what important is, in this file, two functions are there. But those two functions are not loaded into memory. It loads only hello. Now this function is not loaded into memory. That means it is not legacy. It is loading only what you needed. This type of approach is called as what? Modular. Already JavaScript have modular approach. In JavaScript OOP, you learned about module system, right? This is basic modular approach. And you want add, that means you see now, I am trying to define here addition is equal to, so we access the add function 10,20, and it is not able to access this now. It is not able to access that because add is not imported. So you have to import the add into the function. That means here we have to import add also now. Now it is going to work. That means you can import only what you needed. Earlier, what you were doing, you are linking a JavaScript file. When you link a JavaScript file, why you are linking entire file with 100 functions? You are just using only two functions. You are just only using two functions in a file and you are linking entire file. That's not great idea. That's what JavaScript will teach you in OOP concepts, how to design a modular approach, a application. At higher level, JavaScript is used all module based so that it is simple. That means what is advantage of this? By seeing this, any developer can tell what is advantage of this. What is advantage? So it is lightweight. Lightweight means it will load only what is needed. So it is not heavy on application. It is faster. Why? Because if it is heavy with a lot of functions, it will be slow in responding. It is faster. The speed and the heavy, That depends on this modular approach. So what is modular concept is this. So modular is nothing but modular refers to part by part. Actually, general word. Modular refers to part by part. In a modular means part by part. Software programming uses modular approach in building any application. It allows to use application specific library. It allows to use application specific library. It makes application lightweight and faster. That is modular approach. It makes the application lightweight and faster. Not only that, so it is easy to extend. It is easy to extend. So the main feature is it enables reusability, maintainability, extensibility, and testability. These all are the features of modular. That means in one concept, lot of points are features. You may think like you learned only 3 features, but under the 3, there are so many things to understand, right? But you saw what is component base. Being a component base also allows reusability, maintainability, extensibility. That is reusability, maintainability, extensibility of components. This is reusability, maintainability, extensibility, testability of library. It is library. So modular approach is used for building a library in such a way that it is easy to extend, maintain, and all. Components are for building, designing the app. And this is for building a library for the app, right? So what is opposite to modular? Legacy type of device, like, right? So another concept is what is legacy. So it is an approach where entire library is imported into application in order to use only few functionalities. Entire library is imported into application in order to use only few functionalities. Use. So it is heavy on application and uses more memory. It is heavy and uses more memory. Now in the modern generation, all technologies are transforming into modular, right? You may be learning Java, .NET like technologies, Python and all these like technologies recently, but people who know them from 15, 20 years, they know the difference, because 5, 10 years back, they used to completely depend on legacy libraries. But now recently, everyone transformed into modular. You may be learning the technology from modular onwards. That's the reason many people even don't know about legacy. That means you may started your career of learning the technology from modular onwards. Legacy is left behind. So that's the reason it's very less chance that where very few people know about legacy. Why? Because 5, 7 years back means if you learned 5, 7 years back Java, it is a legacy. .NET, it is a legacy. But now they are modular. They change it, transformed their libraries into modular approach. Why they have to change? Because their applications are being used on devices which have low bandwidth. That means I am watching on a mobile. Then how your heavy application fits on this mobile? That means it should transform itself to mobile or tab like device. That means an application have to run on any bandwidth device, then it should be so modular. That means what is needed for that device, it will load only that. That is the advantage of this. So this is another feature. So it is component based. It uses virtual DOM and it is what? Modular. And another point is because of this, it is loosely coupled and extensible. These are the key features, and I don't need to explain this last point, already we learned. What is loosely coupled extensible? So without disturbing the application, we can add new features into application. Already I told you this in the introduction. So what is loosely coupled extensible? So these are all the major features of React. Remember, we are learning only key features of React, technical features of React, because online so many general features they may explain, because you watch YouTube or different websites, they will give you about some general features. Those general features are not technically great. That means when you search for features of React in Google, so then you will see that in the features of React, one feature they will mention almost in every uh, website, everywhere they mention, it is easy to learn. It is easy to learn. Seriously, it is a feature of a technology, easy to learn. If it is hard to learn, you will not learn. You will not use the technology. That's silly things. Such silly features we don't discuss here, right? I'm not going into them because out of 199 websites or YouTube channels will tell you about React, that React is easy to learn. That is not a feature for me and not even for a technician, right? So easy to learn is not a feature of a technology. So that is okay. That is generally to attract you, that it is easy to use, easy to learn. What is that? That is a technical feature of any technology. It doesn't matter. Such features I am ignoring. We are not discussing about them. So online you will see so many such features which are not great technically. So technically these are best. So component based, virtual DOM, modular and loosely coupled and extensible. Now, what are the drawbacks? So that means what are the concerns? Concerns of React. Concerns of React. That means what are the concerns about React? Where we are not very much satisfied, even we are not satisfied, we are still using them because this is the best in the availabilities. Out of the best we are using. We have complaints, but still we are using. What are the complaints? First important point. So it is not designed for what you are using. It is not designed for what you are using. That means React is not designed for your requirements. It is not designed for what you are using. That is the reason, hence lot of gaps. Hence lot of gaps. Lot of gaps. I told you about gaps in last session. That means how a software company selects a technology to build an app, right? So I told you about a table as is, to be, and a gap. So gap, first point I will tell you, like React was there before world knows about React. React and Angular like technologies were there before the world knows about React and Angular. For example, in the coming days, one of the popular language will be programming language, which very much people may learn, may means we are not sure. That is Go programming language. Go programming language. So you heard about this, right? You heard about this language, Go programming language. Anyone heard about them? Right? In coming future, so this may trend very much. May, we are not sure completely, but it may trend very much. That means Go is a programming language used by Google. It's Google's official language. And it is used in building their artificial intelligence apps also. Google builds its artificial intelligence apps by using these Go language. All these days, you may not know about it. So it is an official programming language supported by Google. Right? You may not know about this. After 1, 2, 3 years, if it becomes very popular, then you will find that there is a programming language called Go. And you may think that that is introduced now. But actually, it is there in the background so many days people are using. That means the point here is, I will tell you another concept to understand. We have a website called developers.facebook.com. Do you have any idea about this? Facebook developers, Google developers page is there. Do you have any idea about this? No? Do you know Google and Facebook have apps? Google App Store is there. So many apps are there. All those apps are not built by Google. Google have an app store, in that so many apps are there. All the apps are not built by Google. That means they are contributed by several third party. That means even you can build an app and give it to Facebook and Google. If they like your app, they will promote it, they will integrate it into their app store. If it is good, if it is according to standards and all, and they will monetize also. For that, they pay you. For your app, you will get money. So this developers, Facebook, developers, Google, they have this facility. That means you can come here, you can build an app and give it to them, and they will use that app, they will promote that app, they will give money for that. Now the point is, as a developer, you have a doubt like, okay, you asked me to build an app and give. So which technology I can use? In which technology I have to build the app? Then Facebook people say, whatever technology you know, you use. You know Java, build in Java. You know .NET, build in .NET. You know Python, PHP, build in them and give it to us. We will take care about it. That means now developer can use whatever technology he knows and he can build an app. .NET, Java, PHP, Python, all these technology developers with HTML, CSS, JavaScript in the front end, building lot of web applications and giving to them. They are not satisfied with the output of those apps. Means they are using Java, .NET, all these people are building and giving to them. They are not satisfied because they saw Google apps. Google have their own apps and React have their own apps. Means Facebook have their own apps. Then what they asked, developers asked Google and Facebook people that what you are using. You asked us to build in HTML, CSS, JavaScript and all and give to us what you are using. Then React, Facebook people give an answer that we are using a library called React. And Google people given an answer like we are using a framework called Angular. That means Google people say that we are using Angular and the Facebook people say that we are using React. Then developers are confused. What are these? So then they said that these are our own libraries. Then developers community asked them, why can't you make it open source so that we can also use them? Then in 2013, 2014, Angular and React people made them as open source and available to public. That means public knows about React Angular in 2013, 2014 onwards. But before that, Angular and React were there for more than 10 years. And they were internally used by Facebook communities and Google for internally for building their apps. That means is React.js designed for your requirements? It is not designed for your requirements. It is designed for Facebook requirements. Is Angular designed for your requirements? No, it is designed for Google requirements. Then how you expect them to work for your situations? If they are not designing for your requirements and you are using it, how you will expect that they will solve every problem of yours? That means lot of gaps are there. Gaps means what you need as a developer, they are not provided by Angular or React. These technologies have a lot of gaps. That means if there are a lot of gaps, how to fill the gaps? So you have to depend on a lot of third party. You have to depend on a lot of third party libraries. That is very, very big concern. That means, do you know, even to design a form, you have to depend on a third party. That means in JavaScript and HTML and CSS, you have simply designed a form. You collected the data from the form and you submitted into some location. But in React, to design a form, collect the data from form and to handle the data from form, it's a very big task. That means you may think like React is very advanced technology. It is advanced technology, but it will not provide every feature in very simple way. Some features are very complex in such a way that we are not satisfied. That means once you start using really React in some situations, in the beginning, in some situations, you will feel like my JavaScript is better than this. Understood? But finally, you will realize that, okay, this is the best one. But in the beginning, you will feel like, what is this happening? My JavaScript is very better than React. You will think that. But by the end, you will feel that, okay, this is the best one to use. Why? Because you see, even to design a form, you need a third party. A form, you want to do some validation, you need a third party. You want to pull data from an API and use it, you need a third party. That means for Ajax, you need a third party. For form, you need a third party. For validation, you need a third party. For navigation, you need a third party. Navigation from one place to another needs a third party. That means you need to depend on a lot of third parties. I will show you one point. You see here, this is one library. This is one library. NPM JS is a library. Here you can search for various libraries to build a project. I will show you a library called Formic. Formic is a library used for building forms. It is a library used for building forms. And see what the caption they say, build forms in React without tears. That means if I ask any React developer to design a form, he will literally cry. Sir, what you given me the task? Designing a form for a React developer, he will literally cry. Why? Because it is so much complex in React. That is what official. This is very official. And officially they are saying that don't cry. We have a solution for you. Right? That means you have a simple concept for you, but it is not belonging to React. It is some third party. And almost every React app is using this. Almost every React app is using this third party at a very high level also. MNC is also using. Usually MNCs depend on other third parties. They buy third parties. These are free third parties. MNCs usually depend on paid services. These are free services. Majority projects are still using them. And what is the point is to build a form, why I am very much concerned, because React have that problem. And that is not a big issue. Why it is not a big issue? Because we have a solution for that, and that solution is very simple and it is very easy for designing forms, and that makes forms better. That is the reason, even it is a concern and it requires a third party, we are very much used to it. And it is not a problem. It is just a concern that for everything you are asking, like borrow from here, borrow from there. Right? React own by own will do very less, but with a lot of third parties, it is very good. It is very powerful, because supporting lot of third parties, it is even very good for application also. That, but it is a concern, like for everything you are asking third party, learners also problem. Why problem for learners? Because you will learn one third party company using another. Right? Then how many third parties I have to learn for same concept? That means for building forms, there are several 20, 30 third parties. Which one they will use, I don't know. In one company, they will use one, another company will use another. That means now developer need to learn the most commonly used. And if he gets a new one, he must able to explore by himself. And of course, at React level, once you know one, two components, how to use them, third party, other third parties, you can learn by yourself. You can easily manage them. But the problem is we don't know which third party they will use. I showed you one formic. Similarly, we have like, so hook form. So React hook form is there. This is React hook form. This is another form for building forms in React. So this is another one, React hook form. And you see it is, so it is flexible, extensible forms, easy to use validations. And this is for React. That means React people have to depend on lot of third party. Even to design a small form, they need a third party. That is the problem. That is one, it's not a drawback. It is just a concern. It is a concern about React. So the major concerns are these. So it is not designed, lot of gaps, and you have to depend on lot of third parties. Actually, earlier people has to talk about SEO friendliness. React have problems with SEO friendly and all. Not now. That is old concept, right? From React latest, it is not that. You have more better SEO friendly features in this. That's not a point now. People who are learning React now, they should not mention about SEO problems. Earlier, people used to tell that. That means even today in some websites, old websites, they put a point like it is not good in SEO, search engine not good in SEO. But of course, it is SEO friendly. It has so many new features in the latest versions. So it is not a concern and a point now, right? That's the reason these are enough to understand. I hope you are clear. So these are all the concepts. So what are the features of React, and what are the concerns of React? Another major concern for as a developer, I told you now, these are not technical. Some general things people say. What people say is poor documentation. poor documentation, pace of development, in versions, pace of development in versions. These are all concerns. Pure documentation, but these technically we are not satisfied with them. That means what they say, that you don't have a good help for React. Good help for React. That means poor documentation means what? You don't have a good help for React. That means if I want I face a problem in React, I want a solution, and I go to official website of React, I can't easily find the solution. I can't easily find the solution. I have to do lot of research. Lot of research and hard work to find the solution for that problem. Documentation is not great. It has issues. That means officially their people tell that we are not good in documenting. Because why? Because pace of development of versions. That means currently React 19 is coming. We have React 18 version. That means 18 version. Every year they release 3 versions. By the time you finish React, you will have one more version ready. You started learning React. By the time you finish React, another version is ready. Now, how developer will handle it? That means every few days he need to keep on upgrading. He need to keep on tracking the pace of development. But these are not technical concerns. These are just general. So poor documentation, pace of development, these are general points, right? So these are the basic points of React. Now we will see how practically we can use React in application. So we have to learn about setup environment for React. Setup environment for React. How do you set up the environment for React? That means practically how we can start working with React. That we will see in next session. Right? Tomorrow we will do that. In tomorrow's session, we will start practical working with React. Till now, we learned only all the introduction and basic. Now we will start practically working on this, right? And tomorrow onwards, we will learn practical approach. What to install, how to create a application, use React and all we will learn. So tomorrow we can practically see how React works. Okay. Tomorrow we'll continue with this. Everyone have the class code, right? Everyone have the class code. If not having the class code, you join this WhatsApp community. There we will upload the class related details. So anyone is not having that, you please join the WhatsApp community by using this QR code, and you will get all the notes here. Okay, then we will continue on tomorrow session, right? Tomorrow we'll continue, right? Thank you. In this class code, previous videos are there. If anyone missed out the previous 2 demo videos, they are present here. You can join.